So I've made multiple videos on the channel talking about, just the way things are changing in the video game industry, with everything as far as technology, business, every industry has its changes. And today I wanted to kind of talk about the move that we're seeing around and some controversy surrounding like early access, pre-ordering games, things like that. So if you're new to the channel, you're into video game content, reviews, news, everything like that, make sure you do subscribe down below. We're almost at 500 subscribers. Thank you to everyone who has subscribed so far. Leave a like on this video and let's get into it right after this. So if you've been into gaming for a while, you probably remember going to, GameStop or EB Games, sometimes Best Buy or these other retailers, and you were able to put down like a deposit. It was like $5. You could pre-order a game, and then when it comes out on release day, you go into the store, whether it's after work or during school or whatever you're doing, pick up the game, go home, play it day one. Now, because things are different as far as video games releasing, digital, things like that, pre-orders have kind of lost like their purpose in a sense. There's no fear of a game selling out because it's like, okay, I can always get it digital, or there are more retailers than there ever were. It's not just GameStop, EB Games, it's our Toys R Us, it's Best Buy, Amazon, Target, all these things. You could just order it ahead of time. If you want to, order it the day of, it might get there the next day if you're not in a rush. There's a million ways to get a game nowadays, or just pre-download it the night before by buying it digitally. So this is where kind of, as a consumer, you got to put your business cap on, right? There's money involved in this. So let's talk about pre-orders first. So pre-orders, like I said, nowadays it's not really worth it. So retailers kind of have to find a way like to get people to buy. Some people say like, oh, pre-orders aren't worth it. It's like, yeah, but for a company, that's a guaranteed sale for the most part, unless you cancel the pre-order. But it's more like we can get people in instead of giving them time to like think over, do I want to buy, do I want to get on discount Black Friday? You get the pre-orders in and you keep it moving. Now, when it comes to retailers, when it comes to anything, clothing, sneakers, music, video games, they buy everything wholesale from the main company. So yeah, they're selling it to us for $60 or $70, but they really probably got it for maybe 50 each coming from the main company. So when you see things about sales and things like that, once a company sells to a retailer, they're not making that money. So the retailer has to somehow move this stock out to not take up space on their shelves and, lose money once it goes on sale and things like that. So the pre-orders nowadays, they're doing some exclusive stuff, which I've seen before, even with like old CDs back in the day. They used to be like, oh, only at Target you get it with all the music videos and things like that. So nowadays, when it comes to pre-ordering, they got to throw in a little, let's look at Tears of the Kingdom, right? Like that was a big midnight launch, probably one of the only games that people are going to be lining up to buy because it was a whole event around it, right? Same thing with Pokemon. So certain retailers were offering, special figures or like little wooden, look like a cutting board or tablets or something. Like you have to give the consumer some reason to want to pre-order, right? And, they're willing to spend whatever money to get that little exclusive, something that they're willing to get. And retailers have kind of figured that out. Now, where the controversy comes in is like sometimes either they don't offer anything when it comes to pre-order, or two, it's not really worth it. Like you tell me, oh, you get like a digital like skin or something. It's like, it's not worth it. Or like a sticker set or something like that. And like, I'll be honest, I'll speak for myself personally. I was pre-ordering a little too much, especially with Best Buy giving you that, money back and gift rewards and all that stuff. But I canceled a few things because like, I'll be very specific. I had Sonic Superstars, I think it was Super Mario RPG and Super Mario Wonder pre-ordered at Best Buy. And I'm just looking at it like, yes, do I want to play those games? I'm definitely going to buy them, but it's like, there's so many things for me to play right now. I'm not in a rush to play those day one. God of War Ragnarok, Starfield, games like that, I gotta play day one. And Tears of the Kingdom, like, I don't mind pre-ordering because I just want to make sure I have the game. I can go pick it up, I got it physically and keep it moving. But when it comes to these other games, I'm like, These games are coming out at the end of October. Black Friday's coming out. I'm sure there's going to be sales and discount codes and things like that. So you kind of got to think like you don't want to go into the FOMO of just hopping on a pre-order, right? So that's pre-orders. Now let's talk about early access. So I'm just going to use a couple of recent examples for this. So first one that comes to mind, and the first time I heard about early access was like, this isn't beta access, just to differentiate the two. Beta access is when the companies put it out for a few select people. You sign up, you try to play over a weekend or something like that. They get data and be like, okay, this needs to be worked on, this, whatever. This is ahead of the release. Now, early access is something that's fairly new in my opinion. The first time I heard about it was back in 2021 when Forza Horizon 5 was releasing. So what the early access did is you pay, things like $30, $35, and you could play the game around 5 days early. And that seems to be the standard. Everybody's doing around like 5 days, right? So you get to play 5 days early, and some people that's enough for them. They're willing to pay that. But, in the business sense, people have to realize companies need to keep making more money every year. It doesn't matter if you make $1 billion, $1 trillion, $100 trillion. You need to be making more every single year. That's what companies look at. They look at growth. They look at whether you're Google, Apple, Nike, Microsoft, Sony, Nintendo, any of these companies. You need to be making more money every year. That's how you get promoted. That's how the company keeps investors coming in. That's how it works. It doesn't matter how much you made before. You got to always be elevating and getting better every single year. So when we look at what was offered for the early access with Forza Horizon 5, what you could do, especially since it was on Game Pass, and this is kind of where Microsoft wins with these early accesses, is most people are already on Game Pass, so they say, okay, I'll just buy the premium edition and get the little add-ons and stuff. So it came with like a welcome pack, a car pass, a VIP membership, and then 2 game expansions ahead of time when they're going to be available. So you pay now, and then when those DLCs come out, you will then just have access to whatever new areas and things like that. So to me, that is worth the $30 or $35, right? It's like, if it's a game you already plan to sink your teeth in and really play and things like that, paying $30 and you're going to buy the DLC anyway, you might as well just get it now. Back in the day I'm sure it's still a thing, but like expansion passes, season passes, all that was the original version of this a little bit, but it was only for DLC. So people would spend however much on Call of Duty by the season pass, so when all the DLC map packs come out, you already have it day one. You're just buying it ahead of time, or maybe if you get like a $5 or $10 discount by just buying it, and it's like, hey, I love Call of Duty, I'm going to buy the map packs anyway, I might as well just pay for it now. So that's kind of the idea here, and I'm not too mad at it, honestly, especially if people are doing it. You know what I'm saying? Like, people can say no. Like, they're choosing to spend the money, they pay early, and they're getting some, decent return for it, right? Like, you're already getting the expansions and DLC that you probably are going to play and pay separate for. You might as well pay for it now and then be able to play 5 days early, maybe take a day off of work. You got the whole weekend to play. Like, it makes sense to me. Now, staying on Microsoft, a recent example of this was something that I actually chose to do. It was for Starfield. Starfield was this hyped up game. A lot of people are loving it. I'm loving it. And yeah, I end up paying the early access, right? Because I'm looking at it like, at first I was going back and forth in my mind, like, is this FOMO? Do I want to pay it? Is it just to play 5 days early? And I'm like, it is Labor Day weekend, even though I went away Sunday, Monday, but I'm like, but you get to play Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And then I actually read into it, and I'm looking at it like, okay, what actually comes with this thing? You could buy the premium edition, which was $100 instead of the standard 70, so you're paying 30 on top. And then you could also, or you could get the Constellation edition, which came with the physical steelbook. It had the watch in it that everybody wanted, but it also came with a story expansion. Only one though, so that lets me know they might have more than one, but that's whatever. If it's going to cost that, it's going to cost that. So it came with a story expansion, a skin pack, and then it also comes with digital copies of our art book and soundtrack. Now, a lot of people don't really care for those kind of things, especially if you're a collector, because you're getting all this physical stuff, but then you get like the games on a digital code, and the soundtrack is digital. You got to download it, and you'll probably lose it in the next 2 years, or you get a new phone and don't like it's whatever. But the way I thought about it was, like I said, Labor Day weekend, they knew people wanted to play early access, and you get access to the first expansion once it comes out, which is probably going to cost maybe 20, 25, maybe even the $30 that you're paying. So in my mind, I don't see anything wrong with it. I get there's some controversy around there. They're saying people are like, the companies are taking advantage and things like that. But like, to me, if you plan to buy the DLC or play an expansion, what's the difference? You're paying for it now. Like, okay, you take $30 now as opposed to in 2 months from now. Like, I don't know. I get it. Like, but no one's holding a gun to your head at the end of the day, right? Like, no one's forcing you to do it. And they're saying, oh, it's what do you call it? Predatory and offering early access because, you know, people are thirsty and they're going to pay. Listen, if you can't control yourself, and that's on you at the end of the day. And then the even more recent example was just this past week with Mortal Kombat 1. So if you got the premium edition or you got the collector's edition with a K, then you were able to play early, 5 days early, but then it also came with the combat pack, early access to the game, like I said, 5 days early, and then also came with these dragon crystals, which are in-game, you know, currency or whatever. So for a lot of people, those things aren't worth it. But to get something early, to get a pack of characters or DLC, like, again, if you are into these games, you're willing to pay it. So I don't really see the controversy in that. Now, if they weren't given that, and it was just, hey, pay $30 and you could play early, it's like, I don't know. But the way I'm thinking about this, honestly, what if they start pushing for, I don't think they'll do this because they're already making money off this early access thing. What if they start doing just early access, but do it for like $20 or $15 or $18, something like that, just to see like, okay, maybe we could get people to do that and get the people that want the extra stuff as well. I don't think they'll do that, dependent, again, I'm not a data person, so I don't know, but someone's behind the scenes is thinking about that, or they thought about it already and they just decided to give them the skin pack and all these kind of things. So I don't know. To me, I don't mind it. I've been saying it all video, but I think it's not a bad business practice, and people have to realize like this is a business at the end of the day, right? Everything is a business. You have to keep finding out ways to make money. People are losing money with, you know, subscriptions and streaming and things like that, but you know, they're trying to move towards all digital, right? Direct to consumer. Just download the game. We ain't got to worry about retailers and things like that. Or maybe, I don't know, like when it comes to the digital physical thing, it's okay, you want people to buy from your store, but there's some people that only shop or are used to shopping at these retailers, Best Buy, Target, Walmart, all these things, and you want to have your games in everywhere possible. Is it possible they'll start selling digital codes? You can buy digital, you know, gamer cards and gift cards and downloadable games and stuff at retailers right now. It's not a lot of them in stock, but would they do that? I don't know. That kind of remains to be seen. But yeah, so those are my thoughts on it. You know, like I said, back in the day, pre-ordering, you kind of needed to, you know, just to guarantee the game didn't sell out because you're buying physically, or you got a cool little, you know, I remember when Pokemon Diamond came out, I got like a cool Dialga stylus, which you probably can't get anywhere else unless you pre-ordered from GameStop back in 2007 or whenever that was. So, you know, for collectors, I get it. But even with these other collector's editions, we're seeing, like, again, digital codes. Like, you're sending a steelbook case with no disc in it. It's like, what is the point of the case? I'm not a hardcore collector, but I understand, like, I'm not getting something physically unless I have everything physically to go along with it. But, you know, that's pretty much how I feel about the whole thing. Y'all let me know down below. Do you pre-order games? Does it matter to you? Does it have to have a certain criteria? How do you feel about early access? That's the real, you know, that's the new thing that people are going for, you know, especially with Microsoft and Game Pass. You get the game for 10% less than you actually would need to pay. You get to get a little discount. So, hey, might as well upgrade and, you know, go from there. But y'all let me know. Make sure you do subscribe to the channel. Leave a like on this video as always. I appreciate you guys, and I'll catch you on the next video. Peace.